Okay, the 3 people will start here. So this morning I quoted a verse in the Most Confidential Knowledge. It's chapter 9. So this is the first verse. The Supreme Lord said, "My dear Arjuna, because you are never envious of me, I shall impart to you the most secret wisdom, knowing which you shall be relieved of the miseries of material existence." So, great. So what we need to hear. Okay, so I'll read this again because new people are joining. Maybe read it a few more times. It doesn't matter. It's so awesome. The Supreme Lord said, "My dear Arjuna, because you are never envious of me, because you are never envious of me, I shall impart to you this most secret wisdom." See, most secret wisdom, because you're never envious of me, knowing which you shall be relieved of the miseries of material existence. Okay? So a little bit of the purport here. As a devotee hears more and more about the Supreme Lord, he becomes enlightened. This hearing process is recommended in Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay? So I'll read the verse again and explain a little bit. So the Supreme Lord said, "My dear Arjuna, because you are never envious of me." See? So first we got to know the context. The context is Krishna is, like Prabhupada would say, if he's going to impart confidential knowledge, if he feels a so if he actually feels a disciple is ready, see, there's a number of factors. Then this most confidential knowledge can be taught by the spiritual master to his surrendered, submissive disciples, because they're non-envious. See? Now I want to show you some practical reasons why Prabhupada had the right opinion and his godbrothers didn't. Just by the statements, so that you can see. You have to see this and understand this siddhantically very, very, very clearly. You see, the godbrothers are Bhagavatam examples. We cannot get into... Prabhupada is a Bhagavatam example, and so are the godbrothers, so are those who leave the association of devotees, okay? So this is how we learn the highest truth. We have to learn it by relationship, see? By the relationship of the highest truth, distinguished from the illusion and all levels of it, so that we can understand how do we get this most confidential knowledge, see? Which will relieve us of all miseries. See, the reason why we are getting people here that are getting relieved of miseries is because they're submissive and surrendered and non-envious. The actually envious ones are the ones who leave. And you're going to see in these Bhagavatam examples, and in the form of the godbrothers, see, these recent examples is going to help us become clear about the path. If anybody out there has any problem with that, this is your own envious nature. It has to be. Because why wouldn't you want to learn what is real bhakti? Or sentimentality. Oh, I just believe the godbrothers are just like Prabhupada just because I believe it and because the godbrothers say so, or the nephew of the godbrothers say so. That is not Siddhanta, is it? That is not a clear explanation. It's like saying, hey, I don't want to hear Daksha criticized or shown that he's lesser than Shiva just because I'm a follower of Daksha. That's the same thing. No. We don't do that here. Whoever's going to stay is going to get the confidential truth, because that's what we do here. See? That's just how we roll here. Because there are enough people here that are submissive and surrendered and non-envious. Therefore, the Lord gives me all these realizations, and they're to be shared. And the envious ones, and those who say, oh, I don't want to listen, or he's offensive to pure devotees, and all that stuff, they'll go away. Good riddance. Go away. This place isn't for you. See? Go hang out with who you need to hang out with. Whatever that is. Because we're here to learn the truth that'll set us free, right? Okay. No more said about that. Okay, so now we're going to go to some statements by Prabhupada himself, and to prove and show, not to put the God brothers down, no, to help you out there. Because if you're believing in those who do not have the confidential truth, you are not going back to Godhead in this life. Next life, maybe, maybe not, who knows. But if you want to go back to Godhead, you got to hear the confidential truth, where you can feel that your miseries are being relieved, like is being relieved in many devotees in this Sangha. See? Otherwise, go to the God brothers and suffer, because you could see they're ringing bells, no life. Same thing. There are people in ISKCON, they're not getting it right either, because Prabhupada didn't tell them the confidential truth, or they got it but they didn't hear it, and they end up going to the God brothers, whatever it is. Okay? No fault on your part. You're just weak. No problem. We all need to learn. See? Okay, so this is Prabhupada on his God brothers, just to show many things. Okay, these are all documented, all in the Veda base and all of this stuff. Okay, so in the many conversations, and here's the number here if you need to read it. So Bhavananda says people are attracted by the Westerners coming to the Math. So we're up at that Math, any of us, and then they say, just see, they say in Bengal. So this was, see, so Prabhupada responds, that was the policy of Madhavaj and okay, so that was the policy. This is Prabhupada saying this now. That was the policy of Madhava Maharaj and Sridhar Maharaj. That although Bhaktivedanta Swami is propagating throughout, he is subordinate to us under our instruction. So all these three. Okay, so the question this morning was, is Sridhar Maharaj ecstatic devotee? Do you think this is the quality of an ecstatic devotee? Do you think he understands the confidential knowledge? No fault on Sridhar Maharaj. He is who he is. But this is the statement of Prabhupada, who is an ecstatic devotee, who has the confidential understanding of the Vedas, who is even acknowledged by the God brothers a lot of times in name. Oh, yeah, just so that they can get some position. Oh, yeah, we are friends of Swamiji. We're the same. See? That kind of thing. They're not free in the heart. See? So you see how they treated Prabhupada, who is actually, is well known. We know he is an Acharya man. He is a direct Shaktavesh avatar, empowered by Krishna. There is no doubt in the minds of so many people. Even the God brothers, maybe in name only, they say, yeah, so they can get what they want. Just like I had a disciple leave here and said, yeah, Gaurahari's my guru and all that, in name only. But by deeds, no. By deeds, this is what Sridhar was. Oh, they think I'm under their instruction. They're here to instruct me. See? What if Arjuna did that to Krishna? See, what if Arjuna said, I'm here to instruct you? That's what they did to him. And because the real guru is one, man. The real guru is Krishna, like on the battlefield with Arjuna. The real guru is Krishna in Bhakti Siddhanta. The real guru is Krishna in Prabhupada. But not in those who treat the real guru like that, where Krishna is using them as medium. That's called envy, man. And not to put anybody down about it, that just is what it is. Therefore, they didn't have the confidential understanding Prabhupada did. Is that making sense now? See? The neophytes, they just, it's all the same, they're all on the same level. Yeah, but no. See, Prabhupada made sure that this went into the record. So, Madhusudana said, I met Sridhar Maharaj in the 80s and was not showing any ecstatic symptoms at all. He didn't have them, man, because he's not at that platform. They think, and this is what I've seen. These persons that are gurus now, they got it up in here, in their head philosophically. Blah, 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 blah. They don't know what is real bhakti. It's confidential. It's only for the non-envious. See? Okay, we'll read on and show you more why it's like this. And I say again, I'm not trying to put the godbrothers down. It's just to teach where is the real bhakti. See? You got to know this. You got to know these subtle principles. I'm talking to my students, man. My surrendered, submissive people who believe, my friends who believe in this preaching, who can really think about it and analyze it siddhantically and look in the book and say, that makes a lot of sense. That is more logical than all this sentimental thing. We'll just lump them in with Prabhupada. You got to see, hey man, only the person that is non-envious and is a friend, true friend, sincere friend of a devotee who represents Krishna gets this confidential knowledge. That was Prabhupada who got it. He was entrusted with the deep truth. And he put it in his books. He didn't necessarily speak it because then he got a whole bunch more like that. Still envious and jealous, and he used them to get something going. But now we're pulling out of many groups those who want to know the truth. See? So that you can get through these things. See? So, again, that was the policy of Madhava Maharaj and Sridhar Maharaj. Sridhar Maharaj, he's saying, so people say, well, you see, Prabhupada said he was my Shiksha Guru. That's why I say you have to see that he only did that to get a disciple back. This is his real understanding. He knew Sridhar Maharaj was who he was. He's trying to instruct, a person that's spreading Krishna consciousness all over the world that he couldn't do and none of the other godbrothers could do. See? So Prabhupada said that was the policy of Madhava Maharaj. We read that. See? So that was the policy of Madhava Maharaj and Sridhar Maharaj. Listen again, and Sridhar Maharaj, that although Bhaktivedanta Swami is propagating throughout the world, okay, he says throughout the world, okay? See? So that means you should see that he is empowered by Krishna, okay? They can't see that because of the quality of envy and jealousy. See? That although Bhaktivedanta is propagating throughout, he is subordinate to us. See? Isn't that like Daksha? Daksha thought that Shiva was subordinate to him. Why? Because he still had the quality of envy and jealousy in him. See? He had to become subordinate to Shiva to make progress. So whether Sridhar or anybody else did, well, hey, I don't think so. See? So he is Bhaktivedanta is subordinate to us. See? He is under our instruction. In other words, they can't see the transcendental potency working through Prabhupada. See? Why? Because they're still covered by that last false ego layer of envy, jealousy, and competition with Shuddha Bhakti, which Prabhupada was a manifestation of, an empowered Shaktivesh avatar. Actually, Sridhar admitted that towards later on. Whether he believed it in his heart, who knows? Because there are a lot of people say, yeah, I'm a Shiksha disciple of Prabhupada, but to me, it's doubtful. Just like, I know from experience, I have people leaving me here, and then they say, yeah, I'm a disciple of Gaurahari, but I'm leaving. The deed is they left, and you're going to see the same thing quoted by Prabhupada here, coming up. And see, what happened to Prabhupada, it happened to Bhaktisiddhanta, happens here also, and you'll see that's why we're in the real line, because whatever happened to them happens here. Okay? So Vira Astika, 1958. Your so-called disciple, the jackal, Ananta Vasudev, disobeyed your final instructions. See, to keep the mission united, and therefore created a scandalous fiasco. Okay? The result of this philosophical deviation, see, philosophical deviation is, to this day, imitative sahajas are being worshipped as gurus in the temples. So what is that philosophical deviation? Is what they are doing still now. See? The philosophical deviation was to appoint acharya, to appoint gurus to be your deliverers who are not qualified. That is a philosophical deviation. Where is it listed? In what checklist? In the book, man. It is by the action of the devotee Bhagavat and the book Bhagavat absorbed in devotional mellows that the mellows are transferred into their disciples, just like here. This is proof that the qualification is here. I tell you what is in the book and clarify it and magnify it so it gets very clear. See, that was a philosophical deviation. They gave their own checklist like ISKCON does now. Shiva was more effulgent than Daksha, but you see, the devotees they're covered by the transcendental potency of Yoga Maya. How come you could say Shishupal, or anybody else seemed more, to their followers more effulgent? See, like Shishupal and Jarasandha seem more effulgent to their followers who believed in them than Krishna. Why wouldn't they just see Krishna's effulgence? Because he's hidden by the Yoga Maya potency. You have to see a demonstration of the power of the devotee. See? And that could be uncommon, like here in the line with Lord Chaitanya, uncommon Krishna conscious realization. That reveals that the Brahmins are subordinate under the true Vaishnavas, empowered. The real guru, the real spiritual masters. Okay? So, yeah, how come? Because that's what happens. So the effulgence of Brahmins is this Brahminical power. It seems very impressive. See, Bali Maharaj's guru also had an effulgence from Brahminical austerity. It's like the effulgence is, wow, they're really austere. See? But the real effulgence of Shiva and Lord Krishna and all devotees is hidden until they start to show a demonstration of power. So Prabhupada's effulgence was hidden. Even with the godbrothers couldn't see it, and they couldn't see it even when he was preaching, many of them. Okay? They just couldn't recognize because they still had the quality of envy and jealousy. See? So isn't that why don't we recognize pure devotees? Because their effulgence is hidden by the Yoga Maya potency. And that's why the effulgence is the conclusive truth. Why don't you see the effulgence of the truth in this book, in Bhagavad-Gita? You read it so many times. Because you got to become in line with a real disciplic line and hear from a real devotee and become a surrendered and submissive and a real submissive, surrendered disciple and friend of that devotee. Okay? Then you start to see that their realization is better than anyone else's. It's more clear and more as it is according to the book Bhagavad. See, the book Bhagavad says don't appoint the Acharya. The Acharya is the external manifestation of the Supersoul. See? So they went against the order of Bhakti Siddhanta, who said don't appoint anybody as Acharya. Continue the mission. Do the GBC. See? So Lord Prabhupada said, see, that's a philosophical deviation. Okay? That's not in the book. That's why he wrote it in the book. He knew someday somebody would come along like it is now, like Prabhupada ordered, and tell you what's really in the book, what's not a philosophical deviation. They did a philosophical deviation by appointing acharyas and gurus to deliver people, where you bow down to them and do propagate idol worship. Sridhar himself did that. And Prabhupada said, look, hey, not the right conclusion. So how can you lump him in with Prabhupada and being the same? He was philosophically off, still trying to control Prabhupada. See, the disciples go over there. You see, his disciples went over there and they laughed. See, they're coming over to see our guru, Sridhar Maharaj. See, they were proud. Okay? So what happens? What are you going to do? So the result is philosophical deviation, is evident to this day as imitative sahajas are being worshipped as gurus in your temples. See? So Prabhupada considered the temples Bhakti Siddhantas because he was qualified. Just continue the mission, worship a pure devotee. Don't be an imitative sahaja, imitating the bona fide spiritual master and getting worship to them. Now you're doing idol worship. That's a philosophical deviation. That is speculation and not pleasing to Krishna. Okay? So people call me sahaja. Hey, I'm not philosophical deviant, man, because I'm saying the real guru has to be qualified and worship the Lord according to the book. Bhagavad-Gita 10:10, loving ecstatic worship, man, transcendental worship of the Lord. They have the right understanding. They have the right philosophy. They're not deviants. See? This is totally ridiculous to call Gaurahari Das a sahaja. He's telling you what's right in the book. He's not a philosophical deviant. And that's because this bhakti is real. Right? It's real. Got to be. Otherwise, how can I tell you what's in the book? How can people get benefit after reading the books 4 and 5 times? Or 3 and 4 times? If I was so philosophically off or so sahaji with this tears and stuff, it was the wrong thing. Huh? It's not even logical, is it? Okay? Yoga Maya, Yoga Maya hides Krishna and the devotee. But if the Lord empowers the devotee, he said, and orders them, see, I got the order Prabhupada, just like chapter 12 of the Adi Leela. The order of the spiritual master is the active principle of spiritual life. That's why we're destroying Maya, man. With an iron fist. Like that movie, The Iron Fist, man. That fist, when it glows red hot, man, pulverizes the illusion. It's a red-hot sword, man. See, the order of the Guru. Prabhupada said, you're doing what I want you to do. Exactly, do more of that. I'm just doing more. I'm just telling you more what's in the book, man. And practically, where you can see it in living color, you know, with the Godbrother pastime here, with him and all that. It's all Bhagavatam examples. If you're not sincere, you'll just go away and say, criticize. Gaurahari's criticizing the Godbrothers. Well, yeah, I'm criticizing Daksha also. No, I'm not. I'm pointing out the faults, man, so you don't fall into them again and again and again and again. When are we going to break this chain, man? You know, they did this stuff with Bhakti Siddhanta, see? And then it goes around to Prabhupada, get another chance. And they do the same doggone thing in ISKCON and all Gaudiya Smriti. They want to propagate the fault, man. Let's propagate the fault. I come around, I just play, that's a fault, man. Don't fall into it again. I'm going to make sure my disciples do not fall into that again. We're going to make it really clear. Otherwise it goes on again, and next generation. And then you wonder, where did ecstatic devotion go? Why don't we see it here again? Well, it's because of these faults, man. Propagating envious and jealousy persons like Dakshas representing the disciplic line, and they do not represent the line. Pow! Bam! Pow! Batman is here. Wham! Wall! Ever see that old series? It's really okay. Some more. So you just get it crystal clear, man. Hey, man, I'm not here to judge the God. We're just here to find out what is real bhakti, man, so we can grab it, you know, and taste it. So another conversation in May. It's all in the Veda base. Prabhupada says, at least historically it'll be proved. See, historically be proved cause of envy. Cause of envy. See, because you are non-envious, I'm telling you confidential truths. They didn't get it from Bhakti Siddhanta. They didn't understand it because they had the envy still. They're still in process. So you don't want to be worshiping them as in the line, do you? Are you going to be that stupid after this class to continue on with that line? See? Prabhupada. Who do you believe in? You either believe in them or Prabhupada. Here he gives, again, because of the quality of envy. My God brothers. Because of the quality of envy, my God brothers. I was known, although they knew that Prabhupada liked me very much, because I'm a Grihastha, I am known as a rotten Grihastha. See? Rotting away in household life. So if bhakti is that good concealed by Yogamaya, then barely no one recognizes a pure devotee. That's why Prabhupada didn't preach the confidential truth. He did like this. See, he's telling you, but people don't see it. See? But, hey man, look, we got 5, 10, 11, 15, 20 people listening now. Because it's true, it's time, man. Prabhupada didn't give me this order without reason. Krishna didn't confirm that you come here, you're going to get Krishna in this life. This is a reason, man. And their desire is strong. So Prabhupada continues, and they say, this Grihastha has come out more than us. So I'm going to read this again. Listen carefully, everybody. At least historically it'll be proved. See, historically, I got the history right here, man. See? But it hasn't been proved. Why? Because they changed their opinion and say, oh, the God brothers are wonderful, equal to Prabhupada. Well, not here. History is going to be proved as it is in the book here, my friends. Historically. See? At least historically, that's why Prabhupada had all these things recorded, my friends. That's why I'm recording all these things. Let it be burned, the truth be burned into this world, so people don't get burned by the Maya and the illusions and the envious and the jealous and all of that. So, at least historically, it will be proved because of envy of my godbrothers, because of envy of my godbrothers. Again, not to put them down, but just to get clear, let's call a spade a spade. I was known, although they knew that Prabhupada liked me very much, I am a Grihastha, I was known as rotten Grihastha. And now they say, this Grihastha has come out more than us. What is this? Sridhar Maharaj's chief disciple. I'm not clear about what that is. It's not even clear here. So anyway, this Grihastha has come out. This is the quality of envy. Oh, this Grihastha has come out more than us. See? Not like, hey, wow, Krishna's working here through Prabhupada. Let's get his shelter, man. Let's learn from him the confidential truths. If you approach a bona fide guru like that, hey, man, if I was a godbrother of Prabhupada and I see that Krishna is working through them just like he was working through my guru, my God, I say, hey, man, is there anything you can tell me if you feel me worthy? Because if I'm going to get any confidential truth, it's going to be through the empowered guru. That's why the Prabhupada said, if it's seen that a godbrother has a special mercy of their guru, they should be treated with almost as equal respect. See? But the problem is, nobody can recognize the mercy. They can't even recognize it on their guru. Just like the disciples of Bhakti Siddhanta couldn't recognize it on their guru, the real mercy. Therefore, they can't recognize it in where that same potency of Yoga Maya of Krishna acting through Prabhupada, they couldn't recognize it. Yeah. Okay, some more. So I'm switching between 3 different phones because the internet's a little funny. So, Prabhupada says in another conversation here, he cannot make any comment. These are facts. 2 parties were there. One party used Guru as their instrument for self-aggrandizement. See, they use the Guru so that they can get material desires. See? They use the Guru. They use it to get the buildings. They use the Guru's reputation so that they can become Gurus themselves. See, the same thing happened with Bhakti Siddhanta. Same thing happened with ISKCON. Same thing. They use the Guru. See? So, and another party left Guru. Okay? So you had those who used the Guru and stayed in the Gaudiya Math per se, and they appoint an acharya, but just for their own material desire. Therefore, it immediately goes down to motivated religiosity. Now you got a religious group. See? And the other party to use and the other party left Guru. Now listen who the other party that left Guru is. So both of them are offenders. See, both are offenders. This Kunja Babu, this Tirtha Maharaj's party, he wanted to enjoy the senses through the Guru. See? And he wanted to enjoy, and the Bhag Bazaar party, they left. So Tamal Krishna says, Vasudev, Prabhupada. So both of them are severe offenders. See, two parties. And who was in the Bog Bazaar party that left? Who was in that party? That was Sridhar Maharaj. See? So, Tamal Krishna says, so Prabhupada says both of them are severe offenses. So if you don't teach conclusive truth, not as a philosophical deviation, see, if you use it to twist everything, you're an offender. See? You become disempowered. You won't be empowered to preach. See? The right thing, the right philosophical understanding. You'll be twisted. If you leave the Guru, you'll also be a problem. You're both severe offenders. Okay? Actually, both leave the Guru in that way. The Guru is his words. So, Tamal Krishna says, what about Sridhar Maharaj? Prabhupada says, Sridhar Maharaj belonged to the Bog Bazaar party, the one who left. Okay? And I was living aloof. My Guru Maharaj approved. He said it is better that he live aloof from them. See? Because he knew they didn't have clear understanding. Prabhupada had a pure heart. Theirs were not purified. Tamal Krishna, he could understand that his disciples were not. Prabhupada said no, he was very sorry. At the last stage he was disgusted. See, at the last stage he was disgusted. Why? Well, you can look, said, I should stay here 10 more years, Bhakti Siddhanta said, but they want me to go. They're pushing me out. They're pushing me to go, leave the planet, so they can do their thing. Put their own philosophical deviations up as the truth, conclusive truth. See? Or use the Guru to do it. Oh yeah, we're also acharyas also. Prabhupada called that sahaja. See? Or they leave completely, they leave Guru. See? And they do something else. So, letter 772-826. Gaurasundar all along. Gaurasundar. A letter to Gaurasundar. All along I have been discouraged in every way by my godbrothers. Does that seem like non-envious persons, my friends? Isn't that, do I consider myself above Prabhupada? Am I discouraged in every way by my godbrothers? Or, they can consider whatever they want in my relationship? In every way, how much support do we get here? Hey man, what happened to Prabhupada is going to happen here. I take it willing, no problem. Because we're pushing forward just like Prabhupada, and it's working. Notice? I pushed 22 years having all kinds of bullshit going on in my preaching, with people coming here, people stealing Narayan Raj stealing 2 of my disciples, Radhanath misleading one away from here, and it's just caused confusion. I had to work through that myself. But man, once you get this stuff clear, save a lot of people, a lot of problems, a lot of, you get caught up in some of these obstacles, you're there for life. People are still, if I don't get them out by giving really true, conclusive truth, they ain't getting out for their whole life. Look at my ex-wife. She's still there for 22 years. She won't even listen. See, I have been discouraged in every way. Not just in one way or 2 ways, in every way. This is what envious people do. They discourage. They're always trying to thwart the movement. What are you going to do? That's their nature. Jealousy. But I stuck to my duty keeping my spiritual master always in front. That's what I do now. That's why this is working now. See? I stick to the order. Prabhupada got the order from his guru to preach like he did. And I do the same thing. And that's the secret of empowerment. The secret. You just continue on no matter how much stuff goes on. Because of all of this stuff here. And you just, with faith, you know it's going to come out well. Or better. Okay? So I put it in front. Now, people say they can say whatever they want. Oh, that's just a dream and all that stuff. Hey, you go on. So letter 7299. My godbrothers always discourage me. See? He didn't say, my godbrothers sometimes discourage me. My godbrothers always discourage me. But I did not give up. I am doing my duty and always keeping my spiritual master in front, even if there is some difficulty or hardship. Even there is some difficulty or hardship. Or even my godbrothers may not cooperate, or they may be fighting. Still I must perform my duty to my spiritual master and not become discouraged and go away. That is my weakness. I don't know if that's right. Must be the wrong thing. Okay, I must perform my duty to my spiritual master and not become discouraged and go away. See? So conversations. Prabhupada, daily night. And he was shocked. One of my Gaudiya Math godbrothers, big he became, the head of this Bag Bazaar Gaudiya Math, a new Paramar and child, and protested. See, so that was the Ananta Vasudeva. See, again, appointed by this thing. I'll just tell you the story. It's in here. And so anyway, they appoint him as Acharya because he memorized a lot of the Bhagavatam and all that. But Bhaktisiddhanta never mentioned that you become Acharya. See, they did anyway. See? And so the result was disaster. The person, he got married, and then his wife was a prostitute and was doing business. And he's still Acharya, and he's got a wife that's a prostitute doing business. Can you imagine how discouraging that would be to Prabhupada? To see that going on? Okay? And then the son saw this business being done, the son, and he chastised the wife and said, what are you doing? This is not right. I'm going to tell my father. Okay? And what happened? The wife gives poison to the father, who's the Acharya. No. The wife gives poison to the son. See, and then she tells, I poisoned our son because he was going to, do this or that or whatever. And so anyway, Ananta Vasudeva took the poison and died. Killed himself. See, it's a disaster, man. Okay, I think that's enough on the, just to point out this quality here. So, what is the moral of the story? Don't go to the daksha, those who are caught in the daksha obstacles, to get confidential truth. They don't got it, man. They prove it by doing what the real acharya doesn't want to do. And that includes in ISKCON, if they're promoting that there's a checklist that a person's a bona fide guru and they haven't realized Krishna. See, like the book says, that's a philosophical deviation. And that's why we have mundane, materialistic, varnashram dharma, being propagated even now after 50 years. But that's not here, is it? See, we're just saying that we're distinguishing that out and teaching Raganuga Bhakti, spontaneous devotion to those who have the quality of being surrendered and submissive, okay, and friendly with the Guru. Okay? And again, this is not blind. You got to really listen good and really look around, check it out, maybe fall on your face a few times, to get this. Hey, my friend, hello. Bottle of cold water. Bottle of cold water. Water, pani, cold. Okay, that verse again. The Supreme Lord said, my dear Arjuna, because you are never envious of me, I shall impart to you this most secret wisdom. This most secret wisdom. Knowing which you shall be relieved of the miseries of material existence. So here in the purport, a devotee hears more and more about the Supreme Lord. Now, if you're in that position, you're surrendered and submissive, you got to the point you're convinced that the Guru is a Guru, he is who he is, and he's not cheating you and all that stuff. And now you're getting the confidential knowledge. This will be the result. A devotee. Now you're that kind of devotee like Arjuna, okay? You hear more and more about the Supreme Lord, right? And he becomes more enlightened, or he or she. You notice that? Isn't that happening here? Devotees are becoming more and more enlightened. See, not so when you hear from those who still are envious and jealous and competitive with pure devotees. They stay more or less where they are. See, the devotees, like in our Sangha, you notice they're becoming more and more enlightened. They're acting like Arjuna. You see, Johan said, I want to hear more, I want to hear more, I want to hear more. Arjuna said the same thing. My ears are like a tongue, and I just want to hear more. So you become more and more enlightened by these discussions. Isn't that true? I also become more and more enlightened. It's wonderful. We all are uplifted. See? So this purport is for the devotees, not for those who are stuck in the obstacle. If you're here and you're listening and you've reached the point, you've heard enough, now you're convinced, you're friendly, you're submissive and surrendered, and now you naturally become a friend. See, like now you're in alignment with this verse, now you'll get confidential knowledge. And just by hearing, you become enlightened more and more and more and realize Krishna, just like Maharaj Parikshit. Wasn't he surrendered and submissive to his guru, Maharaj or Shukadev Goswami? This is parampara, man. It's that easy when you're in the right place and you hear the right understanding. It's that simple. Then you understand the verse where it says in Caitanya-caritāmṛta, in the last verses, he said, just by hearing these pastimes and qualities and truths about that Lord Chaitanya taught, see, you attain, this is the path of peace. You attain deep love for Krishna. Can't get any easier than this, huh? Otherwise, you stay as you are. You stay believing in those who still have the qualities of envy. See? And then you lump them in with Prabhupada, and still you don't, that means you still don't understand. Prabhupada was non-envious, and he understood the confidential truth of his guru and the line, and these books. And he wrote them so nicely. My great happiness is to present them as they are and clarify just what's in here. That's it, man. To magnify and to clarify just what's in there so devotees get it. See? Not bring out a separate checklist and just, oh well, just believe in this, and then that's your guru, that's your idol. We crank these gurus out, we just have to, we get them to study and to, take tests and all that stuff, and then they're bona fide gurus. That's your God, man. Worship them. See? And then the book is left then because your mind is going around with that speculation of Trinavarta, you can't even see what's in the book, and you continue singing that song, Samsara Dava, and you don't see what's in the songbook. See? Wasn't that a wake-up call for Johan? Say, wow, man, I never knew what was in that book. I sang it every day for 25 years until I met Gaurahari Das and became a submissive, surrendered disciple and friend. And now I'm understanding. Is this the right path or what? Is this logical or what? Is this firm and convincing or what? Well, I'm convinced. I don't know about you guys. I get convinced more and more. The messages of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are full of potencies. And these potencies can be realized if topics regarding the Supreme Godhead are discussed amongst devotees. See? Amongst devotees. So that means not the envious devotees, the non-envious ones. See, Srimad Bhagavatam is greatly pleasing to hear in a society of devotees. See? Society of devotees, they say, the Gaurahari, he's not envious of the godbrothers. He's not trying to put them down so he can be big cheese and all that. He just wants us to know the truth, to set us free. See? You see my real intention. But the envious projected, oh, Gaurahari, he's envious of the godbrothers. He just wants to destroy, he wants to be a sahaja, and he wants to this and blah, 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 blah. Okay, you guys go away. No problem. Think what you want. So if you are not convinced, how can we? Hey, man, I'm convinced, but it just becomes more convincing. There's always room. There's being perfectly convinced, and then there's more perfectly being convinced, and more perfect forever, so that even the atheists become convinced. That's the nature of the spiritual potency. It's not like that idea there. How can we, meet? This is this perfection idea, material perfection idea. Well, if you're not fully convinced, you're not 100% convinced, and no, I'm 100% convinced, and 110, 120, 140, 150, and it'll go on forever, as long as I'm inspired to talk about this. It just becomes clear, and more clear, and more clear. That's just how Bhakti is. Ever fresh, ever deepening. That's right. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500. All the way up forever. So if topics So these potencies can be realized if topics regarding the Supreme Godhead are discussed amongst devotees. See, devotees, those who fit this quality here, man. See, you're a real devotee. See? You know, if you actually have the quality of envy, that's why even Prabhupada said this is not yet Vaishnava. But, you know, what are you going to do? There's always a lot of envious persons, and hopefully someday they get over it. But they have to be submissive to a real devotee at some life. Otherwise, they'll always be external bhaktas. So this cannot be achieved by the association of mental speculators or academic scholars, for it is realized knowledge. See, it's not enough to be a philosophical, like Sridhar Maharaj is known to be so philosophical. Okay, yeah, you know, it's great, wonderful, you know. But there's philosophical deviation still, because unless you have the quality of devotion, you won't understand things as they are. So this kind of talks is not for those. Oh, great! Thank you very much, man. That have the quality of being a philosophical speculator, because they still have some envy and jealousies of the pure devotees. See? This is not, you will not get the right understanding there. It's like being in Daksha's assembly and thinking those Brahmins are going to have the most confidential knowledge, but yet look at Shiva, they were envious and jealous of Shiva, Daksha and his followers. So that's not considered a society of devotees because of that quality of envy and jealousy. That's why Prabhupada said, these persons who are envious of me, these godbrothers, are not even Vaishnava yet. I know it's hard to take, but Vaishnava means unenvious. That was real Vaishnava. You can be envious and follow rules and regulations, stuff like that. But anyway, someday when the Lord is merciful, to these persons, they will take shelter of a real Vaishnava sincerely. Okay? That's why here, those who are doing that are making such wonderful progress all the way up to the ecstatic platform, because you're taking shelter seriously, but sincerely. You're sincerely doing it, see? And it makes all the difference in the world. See, so with envy and jealousy, still you're going to commit offenses to pure devotees. Therefore, you can't chant the holy name in ecstatic devotion. See, what do you think? Prabhupada is what? He's a pure devotee, man, right? And these persons, they said the godbrothers, he gave him trouble all his life. See? Do you think that's offensive? Do you think you're going to be able to chant the holy name in ecstatic devotion? Is it a wonder Madhusudanas never saw ecstatic devotion? In Sridhar, he was right there. Okay? So anyway, this is, life goes on. This is a reason why Jesus said, the whores will get into the kingdom of God before you Pharisees, because you're jealous of me, you're envious of me, just like Prabhupada's godbrothers. They had the same thing. They speculate, they're mental speculators still. They speculated philosophically, deviating from this and that. Okay? Can you see that, man? And he said, the whores who listen to me sincerely will get in first. And that's how it is with the godbrothers. That's why you guys, you don't have these people here for a time of remembering the godbrothers as equal as Prabhupada, which they weren't and aren't. See? And they're not getting in the kingdom because if they still are not submissive to a pure devotee, you guys are getting in. Already you guys are getting in first before them. You notice that? Many of people that are sincerely surrendering and submissive, and my friend, they're getting this bhakti. They're chanting in ecstasy that the godbrothers don't even do, that ISKCON gurus don't do, that Gaudiya Samiti doesn't do, which is an extension of the godbrother trip. They don't even know what is real bhakti yet. They're not at this point in Bhagavad-Gita. We are. These topics are greatly pleasing to understand in a society of devotees. Okay, so I have to rest my voice for a while. Any comments or questions, go ahead and put it up, and I'll be back in a little bit. Hare Krishna, everybody. Thank you very much.